People, we may have Anthony Joshua's next fight. We may know who he's fighting. In fact, we may not be a million miles away from it being announced, to be honest with you, if this is anything to go by. This was broke about a half hour ago by Mike Coppinger, obviously on behalf of Ring Magazine. Anthony Joshua, this is what the article says here. It says, Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul finalized December fight in Miami. Now, before I read this article, let's just read the article first and then I'll give my 2 cents on everything. So, it says the following. Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul are finalising a deal that will see the pair compete in a heavyweight fight in December, sources tell Ring Magazine. Paul was due to fight Gervonta Davis on November the 14th at Kia Center in Miami, Florida, live on Netflix, but Davis was removed from the bout after well, I can see what the word says, but let's just say a domestic something allegation were made against, because you know what YouTube is like, domestic violence allegations were made against the lightweight world champion. Paul sought a new opponent, and as revealed by the Ring Magazine, Ryan Garcia and Terence Crawford were sounded out. Instead, former two-time unified heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua looks to have taken Davis's place, with the fight set to be staged in Miami on Netflix. I'll carry on reading. Joshua hasn't been in action since a fifth-round knockout loss at the hands of Daniel Dubois in September 2024. As promoter Eddie Hearn hinted the 36-year-old would make his return before the end of the year, with February 2026 also earmarked for the Olympic gold medalist's comeback. Our team worked closely with all parties to navigate this situation responsibly, Nikisa Bidaran, I think that's how you say that name, CEO of Most Valuable Promotions, said in a statement earlier this month after the removal of Davis from the exhibition with Paul. While we're not moving forward with this event, our plans still remain for Jake to headline an event on Netflix in 2025. Details regarding the new date, location, Jake's opponent, and additional bouts will be shared as soon as they are finalised. We thank Netflix, the location of the fight, the Kia Center, and the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino for their partnership in October. Okay, we don't need to read about that. That's going into the allegations about Tank Davis. We don't need to go into that's not this type of video is about. Right, well, lot to talk about here. So, as it said there, Eddie Hearn, first we were hearing AJ will be back maybe in September, October. It's November now. It's the middle of November. No sign of that happening, obviously. Then we heard that AJ had a bit of an injury. I think he had to undergo surgery for, I think it was his elbow, if I'm not very much mistaken. I think that might have been what it was. So, obviously, that pushes back the time, that was the recovery time, and that pushes back his return date. So then we're hearing it's going to be early 2025, or early 2026, maybe January, maybe February, maybe as late as March, which again, you know, you kind of want to see AJ dust off the cobwebs and get back in. You know, he's not going to be going in there with anyone particularly good. Then we're hearing rumours that he could be back on a Matchroom undercard before the end of the year. And you're thinking, could it be the Monaco card? Unlikely. Could it be the Ring Magazine card? Not the one that's happening in Saudi Arabia next week. Could it be the one that's happening with Naoya Inoue? Obviously, if it's an undercard fight, it's going to be a who's who, not a who's he, really. But AJ needs that, right? He needs a comeback fight, and we obviously know what he truly wants to do. It's not the Alexander Usyk trilogy. I doubt it's very much a Dubois rematch. I think what he truly wants is that fight with Tyson Fury. He's been saying that since the start of this year at the Ring Magazine Award show back in January, before Tyson Fury, quote-unquote, retired. He was saying that was what he wanted. He wanted to fight Tyson Fury. That's the name on his mind. And given the fact that although AJ, I think, is probably well and truly past it by now, the fact that that's what he wants more than anything, even more than the world title, even more than the Usyk rematch, more than anything else, he wants Tyson Fury. He seems confident when he speaks about it. So as much as I would favour Fury in that fight, the way AJ speaks about it, he speaks of a man who has confidence, and so right, should. I don't know if we could write him off in that fight, to be honest with you. But obviously we were hearing all that, and the kind of big thing during the summer was really going to be AJ versus Jake Paul, because we were hearing a lot about that during the summer. There's that clip on the look back that me and Ade have where we're watching Derek Chisora versus Dylan White. And people keep saying, oh, you knew that was going to happen. No, genuinely, we didn't. We did not know this was going to happen. Where it was almost like you couldn't have made it up, where at a where they clip to Anthony Joshua. He's in the changing room. He's getting gloved up before his fight. He was fighting Eric Molina that night, and Ade says, "AJ, give me, I think 3 more fights." And I said, "Jake Paul being one of them." And we kind of giggled, and then it cuts to his hand wrap, and it has Jake who signed on. And we're just like, "That's it. It's written. That's it. You know, it's gonna happen." When you see something like that, that's, I don't know. I think that's the universe telling people it's going to happen. But then obviously it was announced that Jake Paul would be fighting Tank Davis, a bizarre type of matchup because they're talking about this fight at heavyweight. And Jake Paul has fought at heavyweight. Tank Davis is a lightweight and he's about a foot shorter. So it looked bizarre, the face-to-faces. But as always, and Jake Paul should have known better. You know, I don't give Jake Paul that much stick because, again, he's a YouTuber turned boxer. He doesn't need to be doing this. But there are people who you could work with or potentially fight who are very unreliable. And Tank Davis is one of them. Aslamon Roach that. I think he should have known better, quite frankly, because Tank Davis, to me, is a ticking time bomb. And it's always a case of when, not if, with this guy. He just, for whatever reason, and again, you know, all the money in the world, he's made a lot of money, he just can't seem to... He just can't get away from that life. He just seems to trouble, just seems to follow him wherever he goes, and he just can't seem to. I don't know what it is, but he just can't seem to shake his past, so to speak. So he really should have known that was always a formality, or that was always a possibility, and now it's essentially happened. With Anthony Joshua, we were hearing this fight during the summer. By all accounts, it was close to being agreed. It was close to being a slam dunk done deal, but. And it's very interesting when you read this, right? It's because I'll read it again. It says, so basically it was saying that Paul sought a new opponent and it was revealed by the Ring magazine. Ryan Garcia and Terence Crawford were sounded out and said the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua, looks set to take Davis' place, with the fight being staged in Miami on Netflix. That was apparently the reason why this fight never happened in the summer. AJ obviously signed that lifelong deal with Matchroom. And that obviously included, or was it? It was before or after, but basically, AJ signed the deal where his fights would always be on DAZN. I think that was after the Usyk rematch, and it also meant that AJ got a stake in DAZN. And by all accounts, you were hearing that was the big thing. That was the big main reason why the negotiations for this fight fell apart. And obviously, with AJ wanting to make a return to the ring, wanting to get that Tyson Fury fight, wanting to shake off the ring rust, to be honest with you. Going in there against someone like Jake Paul, who is a novice pro, he's much smaller than Anthony Joshua naturally. He's really a cruiserweight and very, a novice. He lost to Tommy Fury, people. Anthony Joshua, tie his right hand behind his back and let him use his jab. He'd knock Tommy Fury out in a round or two. Seriously, that's the level we're talking. We're talking about really an area level fighter in Jake Paul going in there against Anthony Joshua. Whether it's exhibition or not, I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's a runaround for Anthony Joshua. You'll shake off a bit of the ring rust. It is a return to form, so to speak, because you're going to be on a big stage, on a massive platform. The eyes of the world will be on you again. It's a chance to actually get back to America and to right the wrong of last time, because obviously he was in a different state. Miami's in Florida. He was in America. He was in New York City. But the only time he's ventured to America to fight, he's lost. And it was embarrassing, that loss as well, to Andy Ruiz, going in, the pre-fight build-up, everything. It was an embarrassing loss for AJ. So this is a chance to kind of exercise one of those demons. You get a massive payday, more exposure amongst the US audience, because make no mistake about it, this fight right here on Netflix, it will do better than Terence Crawford versus Canelo. Make no mistake with that. It won't do as well as Mike Tyson, because obviously that was... For us watching it was just like, oh God. But for the average casual, it was like, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, oh my God. A heavyweight's more of a sell. And Anthony Joshua, they'll take one look at it and be like, oh yeah, this guy, it'll do good. It'll beat Canelo versus Crawford, I've no doubt about that. And I think Eddie Hearn and maybe Anthony Joshua have looked at this and thought, you know what, it's a win-win. We'll get you some ring time. You get a chance to go on the big stage, see how you feel. Let's run around the ring. It won't get you ready at all in terms of stylistically for Tyson Fury. Jake Paul's 6'1", 6'2", Tyson Fury 6'8", 6'9". But you get what I mean. It gets rid of some of the ring rust. It's a massive payday. They'll probably have to take an L on it. Maybe DAZN will have some form of influence in terms of maybe being able to do a documentary. Maybe there'll be something that DAZN can do. But for the most part, it's going to be a Netflix exclusive. And maybe they're just thinking, you know what? And of course, I'm sure Netflix will probably do a deal with DAZN where it's like, okay, we showed it. And again, I'm just thinking out loud here. I don't know. But maybe if this fight does come to fruition, which it looks like it ultimately will, maybe Netflix will turn around and say, you know what, all right, Anthony Joshua's making X amount of money. He's making arbitrary figure 20 million. We'll give DAZN 10 million just to have this fight on Netflix. And they'll probably make that money back with everything, with ads. You know, just the way Netflix are. So I'm sure there's a compromise there. And as well as that, Turkey has been working a lot. I know Turkey's only a minority shareholder with DAZN, but still he's been working with Netflix as well. So for me, this kind of does make sense. At the end of the day, if AJ was coming back, it would have been against the who's he, probably a 10 or an 8 rounder on an undercard somewhere. Instead, he's getting out against Jake Paul, a novice, for a run around most likely. He'll win this fight easily. He'll win this fight even without having to try. And he'll make an absolute king's ransom. And it will maybe just get him mentally in. Again, it probably won't do anything to his confidence, but maybe just mentally it'll get him in that fighting zone. I'm back on the big stage. I'm back with all eyes on me. Tyson Fury are next. And maybe that's what he needs. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Bit of a long one here, but Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. It looks like that Jake thing on the tape was right after all. And it looks like we're getting this fight. Let me know your thoughts. Are you happier with this? I know no one's really going to be necessarily happy with it, but is this more, how would I word it? Is this more of a fight that you will say, okay, I might not like it, but better this than Tank Davis, better this than that circus act that would have been the Tank Davis Jake Paul fight? Is this more sort of not good, but are people more kind of content with this fight as opposed to the other one? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, if you could, people, smash the like button, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. Until next time, peace.